Hello everyone in the multiverse and beyond. This is your friend forever, Evan Lefavor, with an important video. Did you know that just today the news broke that people were polled and they were asked in this poll if they would want a Back to the Future remake? And 75% of everyone polled said that they want a Back to the Future remake. They want to see a Back to the Future reboot in the 21st century. A new 21st century Back to the Future remake. That is what the fans want. That is what the Back to the Future fans are clamoring for. And you know what? There's a little bit of backlash against the idea, saying that a lot of people don't want to see a reboot. That they don't. They think it is sacrilege. To the very thought of rebooting Back to the Future seems sacrilege to even the original producers of the film, Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. But I assure you that after you see this video tonight, that you and everyone else, including Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis, are going to agree with me that right now, this point in time in history is the perfect time, if any time ever in the history of mankind, to make a remake of Back to the Future. And I am going to convince you of that very fact right here in this video. So, allow me to tell you why Back to the Future, the remake, is a great idea, y'all. And that all begins with the cast. The only reason I began to support the concept of a Back to the Future remake is because the perfect cast for this film has emerged, and I am going to share that perfect casting with all of you today. So this happened after I saw the film Spider-Man Homecoming. Coming out of that movie, I knew that Back to the Future needed to be remade. And Tom Holland needs to play Marty McFly, y'all. Could you imagine it? You cannot watch Spider-Man Homecoming and tell me that Tom Holland was not destined to play Marty McFly. Just think about it. Think about how perfect that casting would be. And let's just imagine this. Let's imagine that this Back to the Future remake takes place in the year 2019. And the young Marty McFly is just a teenager, and he travels back to the year 1985 in a DeLorean time machine that his friend Doc Brown invented, and disrupts his parents from falling in love in the first place all the way back in the 80s. And this is our new Marty, y'all. Tom Holland. Tom Holland, the perfect Marty, y'all. The perfect Marty. But if you have the perfect Marty, what good is the perfect Marty McFly if you don't have the perfect Doc Brown to go along with him? And check it out, y'all. Who could play Doc Brown more than Jim Carrey. Yes, Jim Carrey as Doc Brown, everyone. Holy shit. Could you imagine Doc Brown played by Jim Carrey? Jim Carrey with his hair all wild out, and maybe he's even got a wild beard. His own distinct take on the character of the mad scientist Doc Brown, who invents time travel. Only Jim Carrey can take up the mantle of playing Doc Brown yet again, alongside our friend forever, Tom Holland. Tom Holland is Marty McFly, with our friend forever, Jim Carrey as Doc Brown. It's perfect casting. Can you imagine Jim Carrey going around saying, "Great Scott! I've invented time travel, blah, 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 blah." Holy shit. Perfect casting, y'all. But that's only one side of this remake. Because, sure, we've got Jim Carrey as Doc Brown. We've got Tom Holland as Marty. But the Back to the Future remake has to also be about George McFly and Lorraine, Marty's parents as youngsters, y'all. And in the original, George McFly was played expertly by our friend forever, Crispin Glover. And in the remake, who is perfect? If you've seen the movie Ready Player One, you know exactly who the perfect casting for Marty's parents are. Ty Sheridan as George McFly. That's right, y'all. That is right. Ready Player One's Ty Sheridan as Marty McFly's dad, George McFly, a teenager in the 1980s. And he's just writing sci-fi books. He's got this story in his head about how his son from the future, a guy's son from the future, time travels back to help him fall in love with the girl of his dreams. George McFly, maybe he is thinking that in his head. And then it becomes a fucking reality before he can even make it into a book. Ty Sheridan, y'all. Could you imagine him? He's perfect casting to play George McFly. Why? Because of who we're going to cast as Lorraine. George McFly's love interest, Marty's mom, Lorraine. Check this out, y'all. Olivia Cook as Lorraine Baines McFly. Oh my God, she even looks just like the original actress who portrayed Marty's mother, Lorraine, in the original Back to the Future trilogy. Okay? And Olivia Cook and Ty Sheridan have proven that they have on-screen chemistry together in Ready Player One, y'all. They've proven it time and time again. And I have just proven to you that the Back to the Future remake needs to happen. It needs to happen. And I think either Steven Spielberg himself or Sam Raimi, or even Robert Zemeckis needs to direct the Back to the Future remake. It needs to take place in the year 2019. A young Marty McFly, played by Tom Holland, teams up with his buddy Doc Brown, played by Jim Carrey, who just so happens to have invented a time machine using an old DeLorean from the 80s. So we keep the DeLorean as the time machine in this movie. We stay true to the original, y'all. And Tom Holland as Marty teams up with Doc Brown. and we make it different than the original, y'all. We don't just make it a scene-by-scene adaptation of Back to the Future. We want to make it its own movie, but we want to make it as close to the original, the spirit of the original as possible. The spirit of these characters, the spirit of Marty. And nobody but Tom Holland can capture the spirit of Marty McFly other than Michael J. Fox, y'all. So this is perfect casting, y'all. Tom Holland's only going to be able to play a teenager for so much longer, along with Ty Sheridan and Olivia Cook. They're only going to be able to play these roles for so many more years. So let's get the ball rolling on this remake. The Back to the Future remake. This is the perfect cast. And like I said, let's get Steven Spielberg himself to direct the movie. If Robert Zemeckis doesn't want to do it, come on, everybody. Share this video. Tweet it out. Back to the Future, the remake. Let people know that this is the perfect movie to be remade. This is the perfect casting for that remake. Nobody else but Tom Holland can play Marty. Nobody else but Jim Carrey can play Doc. Nobody else but Ty Sheridan can play George McFly. And nobody else besides Olivia Cook can play Lorraine. And of course, we'll have to cast someone as Biff. I haven't figured out who to cast as Biff yet, but we'll figure the perfect casting out, I'm sure. This is it, y'all. The Back to the Future remake needs to happen while these actors are still in their prime, while they are still able to portray teenage characters. This remake could spawn into an all-new trilogy, an all-new Back to the Future trilogy spearheaded by Steven Spielberg himself or even Sam Raimi. Could you imagine Sam Raimi, the creator of the legendary Spider-Man trilogy and the Evil Dead trilogy, if he was the writer and director of Back to the Future, the remake? A modern remake, a retelling of this classic time travel tale? I used to be against remaking this film until I saw Tom Holland come along, until I saw Ty Sheridan and Olivia Cook come along, until I saw that Jim frickin' Carrey is perfect casting for this movie. They're all perfect casting. So share this. Tweet it at Jim Carrey. Tweet it at Steven Spielberg. Tweet it and share it with everyone you know who could make this remake into a reality, because now is the time for it to happen. The people have spoken. 75% of people support a remake for Back to the Future, so let's give them one they deserve. One with the right cast. The perfect cast for this film. Come on, Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, if you're watching this, you cannot deny this is the perfect cast, y'all. The perfect cast. So I am your friend forever, Evan Lefavor. And if you support this remake, or if you don't, share this video and let's make it into a reality. I'll see you next video. Until then, bye-bye.